Here we are working in the same environment. We went on the same strike, on our issues, and we struck a deal and signed an agreement. And the president of the country granted a waiver to pay the money. And then members of NASU and SANU were kept at bay. So we reached out to the Minister of Education, and he did assure us that the approval of Mr. President was for all workers in the public universities, especially the ones in the federal universities, as this case is concerned. So 2 weeks down the line, we are yet to receive, payments for the withheld salary. Ours is to draw the attention of the public to intervene in this matter. We appeal to government, we appeal to those with conscience to see the reason, or to see reason, with this situation and come to the aid of workers in the non-teaching cadre working in the public universities in Nigeria. But anything short of that, and like we did mention in our own press release on Friday, we cannot guarantee the continuous work environment to function.
Welcome back. As much as we recorded success in some areas in our country, issues are not in short supply. One of the big issues right now in the country is that the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities have today commenced their 7-day warning strike, and they said they had to do this because they had no choice. They haven't gotten the positive response from the federal government. They feel unfairly treated. And that's why we're being joined in the program from our Abuja studio by the National President of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian University, Comrade Mohammed Ibrahim. Comrade Ibrahim, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming. Now let's because we understand and we know that not too long after ASU went on strike in 2022, you also joined the strike, your association, and now this complaint about being unfairly treated. What did ASU tell the government that made them concede to an extent that SANU did not say or NASU did not relay that led to this joint action?
Well, thank you for having me, and good morning, Nigerians. This is quite unfortunate once again to come here and start laying these complaints because we have done so. We have given enough notices. We have drawn the attention of all those that matter on this issue. In 2022, like you said, we went on strike precisely on this 27th of March, and we suspended the strike on the 24th of August of the same year. After striking a deal with government officials, precisely the then Minister of Education, Mala Adamu, the Executive Secretary of NUC, other officials of government, including the representatives of the Ministry of Labor. And some of the things we agreed with government was that payments were going to be made for the release of earned allowances, for also release of the approved salary increments for workers in the universities, and then there was going to be non-victimization of any member of our unions that took place, that took part in the strike. But what we saw was we were visited with clear victimization, and the rest is history. This government came into power in May, and everybody celebrated, the coming of this government with lots of promises. And the president, Bola Tinubu, made through his promises by, giving a waiver in October 2023 that all the university-based unions, 4 of us actually, SSANU-NASU, ASU, and NAT, were going to be given the 4 months withheld salary, And in October, fast forward to February, what we saw was payment to our colleagues in the academics. which we do not begrudge and we are happy about. But it's a case of clear injustice that 4 unions went on strike, and then we suspended the strike based on agreements reached with government officials. And here the president grants a waiver, and then only one part of the unions were paid. So we drew the attention of those that matter, because we realized that we felt that it was an error somehow, because we could not fathom how such a misnomer could happen. And even after drawing the attention of the Chief of Staff to the President, writing the Minister of Education, it remained promises upon promises, and nothing has been done in the last 4 weeks. So we felt that the only language government understands is probably to show them that we also matter in the system. So this is what informed the decision of the National Executive Council of our great union, and also our counterpart unions in NASU. The leadership met, and we took this painful decision of having to suspend activities in the universities for the next 7 days.
And that will be starting today, right?
Definitely, yes. It has already started. It has already started.
Now, you said something instructive earlier on. You said when that directive was given by the president in October, that it covered not just ASU, but it covered your association, NASU, and NAT as well. Did I hear you correctly, sir?
Very well, because the advisor to the president, Ajuri Ngelali, was the one that made that official statement, and it was in the media.
And your associations was named in that statement? NASU and
In fact,
SSANU.
if I can just quote him verbatim, he said that the president has granted waiver for the release of 4 months withheld salaries of ASU and other university tertiary institution unions. That's how it was put. And when we got across to the Minister of Education in a meeting in November, he did confirm to us that the waiver was for every of the 4 unions.
Okay, so my follow-up question would be, this is an order coming from the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Besides the Ministry of Education, which ministry should we be looking to for not just the failure to pay the other unions, which would be your unions, NASU and SSANU, but for what ASU calls amputated 2 months' salary that was paid to its members?
Well, the ministry or the body or establishment that is responsible for payments of university workers is the Office of the Accountant General through the Office of the IPPIS. And ours is, we relate with the Ministry of Education being the mother ministry, superintending over the affairs of universities in Nigeria, especially the federal universities. So we had laid our complaints, and we have also reached out. But what is becoming disturbing is that upon all the assurances made by the Minister of Education and officials of the ministry, it remains mute, as far as the Office of the Accountant General is concerned. So we do not really understand how the Accountant General operates, whether she was directed to only pay ASU, and because they need to come out and clarify. Because like you said, we cannot understand the president and commander-in-chief of the country will give an order, and then someone somewhere is subverting that order. And that's why during our National Executive Council in Akure a week ago, we did mention that we sense some saboteurs in this government, because this is unthinkable, actually.
Comrade, in the 4th paragraph of your release, directing members to embark on this strike, I want to read what you said. Having waited patiently for the ultimatum to expire without positive response to our demand by the government, this is to direct our members in the university and inter-university centers throughout the country to commence the 7-day warning strike beginning from today. So when you say waiting without response, we need to contextualize it. What do you mean by waiting without response? Is it silence? Is it please hold on, we're still working? Or is it we will not pay? Which of the 3 options and why?
what is happening is a cemetery silence. If you know how silent, if you visit a cemetery, how silent the place is, that's what is happening. We have written, letters were acknowledged, but no responses were given. So whatever information that we give today is just informal information through our backdoor contacts and so on, but we have not seen this kind of operations in an established government where you write a letter, official letter, and you could not even reply, you get a reply. So it's a silence that of the graveyard, and it's not acceptable. And that's why we also said we give them the same treatment. As of today, all our workers in registry, bursary, works and maintenance, security, students' affairs, will withdraw. I mean, have withdrawn their services, and nothing moves within the administration of any public university in Nigeria, and that will be the case for the next 7 days until and unless the needful is done.
Well, and while you wait for the needful to be done, just confirm to us whether government has reached out to you following the release of that presser announcing your decision to go on strike today. Has any government official reached out to you or other executives of your association?
Officially, none.
Unofficially?
Unofficially, because we speak with them at a personal level. They keep giving us some assurances that cannot be taken to the bank for any collateral.
So where is the Ministry of Labor and Productivity in all of this?
Your guess is as good as mine, because we expected she would have been the first to have reached out. In the last administration, as bad as things were, we will have to single out and commend Chris Ngige, because by things like this, he doesn't give more than few hours to contact unions, and start talking, even if it will not yield anything.
Now, let's talk about some real issues within or among the associations now. At your last executive meeting, SSANU-NASU, ASU decided to bury their differences and work as a team in advancing the cause of the unions. But what we still see, even after that meeting, which held, when was it now? Sometime in July 2023, we have seen the associations work independently in advancing their causes for payment of salaries or for improved remuneration. Don't you think this is why it's easy for the government to apply divide and rule to weaken your resolve to fight for what is truly yours?
Clearly, you got it right. Government is good in divide and rule, and I think they're enjoying the charade. We, as workers in the university, have always remained resolute to advance the cause of, making sure that Nigerians get the best, in terms of education and also in the areas of research and community development, as the co-mandate for each and every university. And what we have not failed to do is that what I have just mentioned. But what government has succeeded in doing is to continuously create hurdles and obstacles in making sure that the universities do not operate optimally. We have said it times without number that for any government that is serious about developing education, funding is the major thing that should be handled. Yes, we have seen a departure from the past in terms of budgetary allocation, in this present government, but it is not good enough. There's no way you can establish universities every day. If you see every day universities are being established, but there's no corresponding, funding. Universities have become like constituency projects now for politicians, and you establish universities, you don't fund it. I have had cause to say it here. There is no public university, especially federal universities, that can boast of having to receive an overhead, in terms of subvention that is enough to pay their NEPA bills. And yet, universities, do not even charge tuition, for its from its students. And every day, universities are established, no corresponding, funds to optimally operate, and the workers are continuously being subjugated and being, malnourished by not giving them what their desired package, as it were. So, government, as unions, we are independently established. Each union has its own constitution. And for us in SANU and our colleagues in NASU, what we do is to advance the cause of administration and governance within the universities. And when challenges came up in terms of government finding it difficult to make sure that payments are made through the IPPIS, we presented a solution, the U3PS, that take this and you are home and dry, because workers wouldn't be complaining of mutilated salaries, payments that doesn't make sense, VCs paid salaries of cleaners, registrars paid salaries of drivers paid salaries of bosses, because the system, is not robust. Universities are peculiar environments, and they are universal. A university in South Africa should be the same university you find in Lagos or in Maiduguri or in Switzerland or in the US. But obviously, what is happening today is that you can also see that even governing councils that should have been the body that will run the system have been dissolved, and that for months now we have been calling for the bringing back governing councils, but nothing is being done. So every issue now, vice chancellors will have to start running to Abuja to come and line up in government establishments to take approvals. So, universities shouldn't be run like that.
So, Comrade, essentially what you're saying is that the dichotomy remains.
Obviously, government is enjoying it, but it shouldn't be. There shouldn't be dichotomy, there shouldn't be disparity in the payment of salaries and allowances of workers in the same system. It's just like the case of Channels Television. You say you pay people in news and current affairs differently from what you will pay people in commercials, or you think they are less important, or people in engineering. It's a chain, it's a system. And in a system or in a chain, sometimes the greatest strength of a chain is in its weakest link. So we need each other. And for the system to obtain to work optimally, everybody should be treated fairly and nicely too.
All right. So by inference, you're saying that, look, as collectives, you are together, but this payment is strategically put forward to divide you. That's the inference. But what happens if government doesn't listen after 7 days? What happens?
We do not want to envisage government will be this insensitive. But if that is what they want, or this is what government will do to neglect our cries, we have a toolbox, as union leaders. And in that toolbox, we have many things that are provided for and that are legal too. One of it is the warning strike. We will have protests, we have indefinite strike, and we have other things to do that are there provided for us under the labor laws. So we hope and pray that government or those people that are thwarting the arms of government will see the need to rescind from this, their evil and slavery kind of treatment they want to meet, or they are meting on the non-teaching staff. But if that continues, like I said, our toolbox is by our side. We will just need to go back to it, and we take the necessary approvals from the constitutional. Okay, the reason I ask, comrade, is because the constitutional bodies of our unions. Yeah, the reason I ask, when it happens like this, and in collective bargaining and the failure of social dialogue, sometimes the invocation of no work, no pay comes in, which was what happened in the previous time, which is why I asked that question. So it's important that you're very clear on your position. But we must thank you so much for coming on the program. The president of the Senior Staff Association
of Nigerian universities, Comrade Mohammed Ibrahim. Thank you for coming on the program, and wish you the very best.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I appreciate it.
All right, well, 7 days is what they've given to the government, the federal government to be precise, beginning from today. So count from now. The universities, public universities, will not have the services of these gentlemen and ladies who are in the non-academic segment of the university system. But let's see how it plays out eventually when that conversation continues. But we will come back after this break and switch gears. What exactly is the role of hype men in the entertainment industry? We'll find out from one of the persons we call the vanguard of that system. Join us again.